This I wanna nail sports to the bone. Top blogger, top YouTube channel. No matter which sports, here we got it covered. Subscribe and hit the notification bell.
So, going out of international cricket though, was it a tug of war as it relates to your physical body saying, all right, it's time to leave, and your mind saying, you know, I can push for a next year or two. How difficult was it to transition out of international cricket?
No, it wasn't that difficult, you know. I had a bad tour of runs wise, performance wise in Australia. I didn't score many runs, and I got dropped for the home series against South Africa. No, at the age that I was at, I would have had to have waited another year to play regional cricket to get back into the team. And there was no guarantee, even because there were a lot of very good young batsmen coming through at the time. You had Sarwan, Wavell Hines, Chris Gale, Marlon Samuels. All of them were coming through. And at that stage, I had a guaranteed contract to go and play in South Africa. So it really wasn't a tough decision. I made the decision then that instead of waiting for another year to try and get into the team, I would draw the line and take the overseas contract and play in South Africa, which I did for 2 more years after that.
Okay. So I think you did some, after international cricket, you went to South Africa, as you said, and you did some coaching at Kent for about 5-6 years.
Yeah, well, that's long after. So long after, I was coach at Kent from 2012 to 2016. So 5 years, I did 5 seasons there as head coach. Correct. Yeah. Enjoyed it. Again, learned a lot. It's a more of a what you'd call in cricketing terms, it's a first world system that they have set up there. And it was good. It was good to be inside of it, working in it for the 5 years. Again, learning a lot of what I consider now to probably be best practice. And it has helped me in coming into this role as director of cricket here as well. You know, I took a lot of learning from that experience.
I gather the culture was very, very different. How did you struggle in terms of getting your foot in? Not necessarily the coaching aspect, but in terms of just moving in and around that part of the world. What was it like getting?
Not really. I'd been playing professionally in England for 20 years before that. So I was very comfortable living and working in England. It's something I've been doing for many years as a player. So culturally, I was at home in the culture and stuff like that. There's no sort of cultural issues for me in that role. It was a challenge because of other issues, but culturally, no, not really.
Yeah. Okay. So funny question: if it wasn't cricket, what would it be? What in terms of profession?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I was okay in school in terms of academic, but if you ask me my number 2 passion was football. But in those days, football wouldn't have given you wouldn't have earned you a living. In those days, all you could do with football is get a scholarship to go and study in the States and so on. So if you take out football, I don't know. I would have found something. I would have found something to do. But I would have had to probably develop a level of passion that I already had for cricket. That I had for sport. It wasn't just cricket. I love sport. To be honest.
In general.
So I don't know. It's a question I asked myself many times over the years. If it hadn't been for this little red ball, where would I have ended up? I don't know. I really don't know.
I guess it's because of the passion, man. So you knew that it was definitely going to be cricket. So I guess
Well, that was a plan. Put it that way. At the end of the day, thank God for the plan working out. And you never know what can happen. You could have the best laid plans and they don't work out. But things worked out over time. So, give thanks.
Well, you mentioned football on several occasions throughout the interview thus far. That was a question, which other sport you are good at. But I gather you were an excellent footballer. Striker, defender, goalkeeper. What position you fancy?
I will play anywhere now. For my age at the time, I wasn't the worst, put it that way. But I had a greater love for football than I had for cricket. but it's just that at a very early age, the cricket started to make things started to happen in cricket. And when I was about 16, I had to make a decision because the then national coach for the Jamaica cricket team wouldn't allow me to play both.
Because I understand.
Trials was going on at the same time as Manning Cup, and he said, Jimmy, it's one or the other. And it wasn't an easy decision. It was an easy decision, but it was an easy decision. It was an easy decision in the sense that logically you knew that cricket was the only one of the two of them that could put you on an international stage in those days. It's not like now.
No, yeah.
And then it was a hard decision because it was really something I had a passion for. And it used to pain me sometimes to have to go to the stadium to watch the team play Manning Cup and you weren't actually there play. But I have no regrets now. Life has worked out well, and definitely no regrets.
Well, lucky for us as cricket fans, you chose cricket. Lucky for us as cricket fans. I guess the football fans would they miss out. But lucky for us, you played.
Well, you never know. Football is sport is such a funny thing. You might have broken your leg before you reach 20, and that's your career finish right there. So you just never know. You just I'm thankful for how it worked out. Leave it at that.
At that, yeah. So coming up through and playing cricket, we had a lot of top cricketers at that time. So who was it? One or two players? Who were the players that you looked up to in terms of cricket in the region?
My idols were Viv and Mikey Holding. As a kid growing up, those were the two players that really excited. No, I don't think it's just me. My generation were into Viv Richards a whole lot. He was the dominant player. He was the Virat Kohli of his time. So we grew up seeing Viv do astonishing things, and Michael Holding was a legend when I was growing up. So those were the two players that really inspired me, and I would put my neck on the block and say they probably inspired a whole generation of our players here in the Caribbean.
Still inspiring people, people worldwide.
Correct.
That is worldwide.
Correct. 100%. Agree with you.
All right, switching a little now. Well, before we switch to the CWI post, director post, is there anything coming through that you want to mention in terms of your cricketing career that I probably didn't cover?
This is your show, boss. If you don't ask a question, I am answering your question.
I probably was wondering if I dug deep enough, or if there's any burning issue where cricket is concerned back then that you wanted to touch.
You're your own with that one. You're your
own. All right, not a problem. All right, so switching over to your current post now. You're enjoying the role together, right? Overseeing certain things and watching the young generation coming through.
It's a big challenge. West Indies cricket isn't where we want it to be, and there are a lot of structural and systemic issues that we're facing. That will take time and resources to get right. But I'm honored to be a part of the process, however small. So it's challenging, but I'm enjoying it.
All right. So talking about the youngsters coming through, we are currently involved in the Under-19 World Cup. Well, we played our first game against Australia, and it didn't go so well. But the tournament is still there. Well, it's still ongoing, so things can happen. In terms of probably identifying a couple of guys coming through from the Under-19 and transitioning over, what sort of ideas you guys probably putting together in terms of making sure that the top players coming out of the tournament for us, they actually transition over into international cricket?
Well, it's a sort of two-phase approach. One is to ensure that the cream of this crop stay on our radar through our emerging players program going forward, but also to work very hard and closely with the territorial board to help them to be able to support these players, because the truth is we are still evolving our professional processes around the Caribbean, and by that I mean, if you look at let's take Jamaica. You and I grew up in Jamaica and so on. The question is, what does Jamaica need to have in place to support you leaving under 19 this year and aiming for international cricket? Now, that level of support is not where it should be, and it is a priority of a lot of us in the board, is to get that level of support across all the territories, so that when the young kids leaving under 19, even before they leave under 19, even before they leave, what are we putting in place? What do we have territory by territory? So remember, now we start from under 15s to start seeing who the better players are in the region. So let us use that as a starting point. How are we developing in that window 15 to 19, even before we leave 19? But are we doing enough to be able to get them ready for the big man's game when they transition? Some of them might transition before they leave under 19s, but let's use that as roughly the are we doing as much as needs to be done, so that when they get into the big man's game, it's not taking them years and years and years to learn maybe what we could have been teaching from at an earlier stage. So we have an emerging players program, but it really needs the support, the consistent support of each territory having a basic minimum level of support in place for our elite players. So for instance, if you look at our under 15 tournament, our under 17 tournament, our under 19 tournament, again, if you use Jamaica just as an example, if I were to say, okay, look at it this way, you go to school and you are exceptional at mathematics. If you stay in the normal class with everybody, at some point you are going to be held back. What a lot of schools do is that they have an accelerated maths program. So it means that you would probably do CXC maths in 4th form, additional maths in 5th form, and then you tackle A-level maths probably in lower 6th. So the system is pulling the best math students into a stream that will push them.
Push them.
Right. So it's similar in high performance sport. What you're trying to do is you cream the best. So I'm not talking about your 20 players who are in an under 15 squad. I am saying who are your best, your three best under 15 players, your best 17s, your best 19s, and pulling them into a program that is similar to what we discussed on the academics, is that you're pushing them. Because if you leave them with the group, what they're going to do is stagnate. And they're not going to develop, because some of them might leave because they get bored. You're not challenging them. So to set up processes like that is what we are involved in now, and part of that is getting the territories to understand that this is critical. It's a non-negotiable. You can't say that you're going to compete against the best in the world, and yet you have 19, 20, 21-year-olds in other parts of the world who are years ahead of what we have. Not on talent, you know. I played against under 19 players when I was that age who were as good as me technically, but they were never as good as me production-wise, because I knew more of the game. I had a better grounding to how I was developed in the Caribbean. So that is the biggest challenge at the minute, is getting the territories to a level where they can support the best that we have from an earlier age. I think that's the best way to describe it.
And happy you actually said that, because I saw the other day where there are coaches. There was this program, I think it is finished now, with Shiv Narayan, Shandopal, a couple of other past players, and I gather they will be placed at the youth level. So if they are there helping to develop the youngsters technically, then that what you spoke of just now, it needs to be there to make sure that it can pull those talented ones, or the cream of the crop into a program, and make sure that they transition over to the senior level.
Agreed. So totally agree.
Yeah, it's a start. It's a start. It's definitely a
start. Agreed.
Finally now, Sir Adams, the World Cup is ongoing, the under 19. Is there any encouraging words that you want to say to the youngsters?
Yes, man. It's consistent for me. It's one, make sure that you enjoy it, because it's not everybody plays in a under 19 World Cup. So make sure you enjoy it. It's the best time in your life. You're playing for not only for your country, you're playing for your region. This is international cricket. So you must have fun. and use it as a stepping stone. Use it, like I said, you're going to have days when you don't feel like training, and you can look back and say, but 2 years ago I was playing under 19 World Cup. Let me use that as a motivational tool to keep pushing, to keep striving, and yeah, learn from it. Learn from it. It's a wonderful learning opportunity. You're going to match your skills against the best in the world at your level. Learn from it. Taking as much as you can, process it, and when it is over, maybe take a little time to reflect and take your learning and really put it into whatever plans you might have. Some of them will some of them might not play when they leave this level. Some might, some won't. It happens. But even if you apply it to life, you will have lessons that you would have learned from it, and carry those lessons with you, and be proud that you did represent the region.
All right, very well said, Sir Adams. Very well said. Once again, it's a honor, and I am happy that you were able to come on and have this little chat with us. From time to time, we see past players in their current roles as West Indies directors, coaches, and ambassadors, and we only see them in that light. We don't really get a chance to talk about what the career was like, because a lot of us growing up, we grew up watching you guys, but after you would have retired, then that is basically it. So
you're too young. You're too young to have watched me play.
Well,
you don't watch the black and white clips on YouTube.
Yeah, I watch the clips. I watch the clips on YouTube. I came around probably a year after you retired.
Yeah, man, I know you definitely don't look old enough. But no, thank you for the invitation, and yeah. hopefully it would have been, the people will find it interesting.
All right, thanks very much for being on, sir.
No problem, big man. All the best. You take care.
All right.